Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Hunt. This is our weekly series dedicated towards helping hiring managers and job seekers navigate every single situation you could possibly encounter when going through a job search process. So, thanks for tuning in. For those that haven't done one of these live sessions before, you can use the comment box throughout the show to ask questions and interact with me. If there's certain topics or certain things you want me to expand upon, use the comment box. Even if you just want to tell me where you're watching from or give any sort of feedback, positive, negative, I'm not sensitive, but use that comment box to interact throughout the show. It's the best way to get the most value out of these live sessions. But again, those tuning in, welcome to The Hunt. Excited to be back for another live episode. And today's episode is one that we're seeing more and more of, especially now that the world is finally opening back up. And a word that we didn't hear all of last year is coming back into our vocabulary this year. And that word is vacation. That magical, wonderful time where you're able to actually leave your home and go somewhere else without needing to get 18 different tests and bringing documentation and everything else we had to do over the past year. So it's an exciting time, but also one that adds an extra layer of complexity when you're searching for a job, because a lot of you that are watching right now are looking for positions and you have a lot of vacations planned or weddings. My wife, for whatever reason, has 92 friends and every single one's getting married in the next 6 months. So if I were looking for a job right now, I'd have to really prepare that I got to tell this company I'm going to have to take a lot of days off for these long weekends. So this episode today is all about preparing for how, when, and why you approach this subject of planned vacation with a company that you're going to be joining. And a lot of people struggle with this. When's the right time? How should you ask? Who should you ask? And how you go about this whole process. And that's what today's episode is all about. So if you're watching this and you have vacations planned, you're not sure about certain things, should you bring it up? Should you not bring it up? This is the time to ask. Use the comment box and comment throughout the show, and I'll make sure I give you as much good advice as I possibly can from being in the recruiting industry for as long as I have. So again, a lot of people battle with this. It's if you have a vacation planned, do I ask now? Do I tell them right at the beginning of the process? Should I tell my recruiter right up front? Should I wait until I get an offer? If I wait until I get an offer, is that going to upset them? Because are they going to think that I hid that the whole time? What if I don't even ask at all? And what if I wait till I start? Once I'm already in there, they're not going to fire me, are they? If I tell them I already had this vacation. So these are all the things that'll run through your head as you're debating it. But luckily, that's what the hunt is for. And that's why we're here today to walk you through this whole situation. So I think we'll start with when you bring it up, because that's, I think, the dilemma that a lot of people struggle with. And use a very easy rule of thumb. If it is 3 days or less, bring it up if it's within 3 months of your start date. So if you have a vacation coming up within 3 months and it's 3 days or less, make sure you address that. If it's 3 days, but it's 6 months from now, wait until you start. There's no need to bring that up and work that into the mix. You have one day planned in 2022. Don't worry about it. Let that play out naturally. But if it's 3 days or less and it's within 90 days of your start, address it. If it's 4 days or more, go 6 months out. It's a little longer trip to plan for. That's something you want to be proactive about and give a company a heads up on. So if it's 4 days or more of a trip and it's within 6 months of your start date, that's something I definitely want to address and get clear. So in terms of timeline, that hopefully helps. In terms of when in the process to approach this conversation with a potential employer, I'd say the best time is after you have a verbal offer, because you don't need to bring it up before then. Listen, you're not hiding anything. You're not intentionally misleading. And realistically, a company should not have the ability nor the nor the desire to penalize you as a candidate based on pre-planned vacation. So you don't need to bring this up earlier than when you actually have an official offer, because why jump the gun and bring that up? That might even come across a little bit overzealous in a way. So when thinking about when to approach this subject of getting a pre-planned vacation approved, wait until you have the verbal offer. Once you have that verbal confirmation, then when you're putting together your questions about salary, start date, timeline, and going through all those things, work the vacation into that topic then and knock it out there. think if you wait a little bit longer, once you accept an offer, then you come back and you think about it, that could be seen as more of a bait and switch. And I definitely wouldn't encourage waiting until you start to approach this, because worst case scenario, they don't approve it, or it's going to be unpaid, or something's going to come up that you didn't expect. It's the worst time to take a vacation for them, whatever it is. Don't leave that to chance. Wait until you have a verbal offer. Honestly, if a company at that point is going to withdraw a verbal offer because you have a few days that you want to get approved, I don't know if that's the type of place you want to work anyways. So just to recap so far, if you're going to be taking a vacation, you have a vacation already planned, and you're nearing the end of an interview process, wait until you have a verbal offer to bring it up. And in terms of how far out you have to actually give them a heads up on, I'd use the 3-day benchmark. If it's 3 days or less concurrently, bring it up if it's within 90 days of your start date. If it's 4 days or more that you're going to be taking off in concurrently, go 6 months out. So if we're at July now and you have 5 days planned in November, I would approach that. I think it's the right thing to do to bring it up in that case. So we have the when and how far out do you plan for. Let's think of who. Who do you bring this up to? So who do you approach this with? Do it with whoever has been leading a lot of the communication, whoever's the one that delivers the offer and sends you the paperwork. Usually it's going to be human resources or HR. They'll be the ones that are delivering the offer letter, paperwork, answering any questions around benefits. That's typically going to be the person you do it. But if the hiring manager has been the one communicating with you the whole time, they're the ones that delivered the offer, they're the ones that told you to follow up with them if you have any questions, stick with them. You don't want it to seem like you're going kind of to someone else just to get that approved. So stick with whoever the point of contact has been all throughout the offer process itself, and that should be the person that you deliver that news to. All right. So that's the who. Now, if you have questions, again, use the comment box. If you're dealing with a very specific scenario and situation, happy to help guide you through that before we wrap up today's session. But in terms of preparing for that conversation, the last thing to figure out is which days are absolutely critical and which days are flexible. Now, don't start flipping out on me like, oh, what are you talking about? I can't take all my days because I'm starting a new job. That's not what I'm saying. This is all about positioning in a positive light when you deliver this news to a potential company. So break down all your days, put together a list, write out every single day you have planned by the 3 and 6 month rule that I just laid out, and really sit there and say, which of these days, if absolutely necessary, could I move or cancel? Doesn't mean you have to do it, but come up with at least 1 or 2 of those days that, if absolutely required, the company really needed you, those are days you can move. And when you deliver this news to this company, when you get that verbal offer, they deliver all the details, benefits, paperwork, and you're ready to go back and ask some final follow-up questions, and you're ready to let them know about your vacation days, mention to them, especially if you have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days over the next 6 months that you need to get approved, mention to them that if absolutely necessary, you want to do right by them. You know it's a lot to ask for, but if necessary, these 2 days, if you absolutely had to, you could cancel. If it's really not good, your family's not going to be happy with you, but the job is more important to you right now. And those 2 or 3 days you could cancel if you needed to, but it would be great if you could take them. Show that give and take. Don't come in assuming and taking for granted that, oh, I should get all 10 days. I have these planned. Show that give and take. Let them see that you're trying to work with them and trying to do the right thing, and put them on the hot seat to be the bad guy and have to come back and say, well, you know what, we do need you to cancel those 2 days. And if that does happen, it's not the end of the world as long as you get the days that are absolutely critical. But more often than not, if you take that approach, show that give and take, show that you're willing to work both ways, you'll find that companies are more than willing to help out, as opposed to someone who comes through and says, I need this day, this day, this day, and this day, and it's non-negotiable. So you're bluffing a little bit. It's almost like, asking someone at a dinner party, go over and you ask them if they need help cleaning up, and you're hoping they're going to say no. And if they say yes, you kind of shot yourself in the foot, and then you have to wash dishes for 5 hours. Not that I'm speaking from experience, but if you're going into this situation, that's the right way to do it. So any of you that have pre-planned vacations, don't worry. We're going to get you through it. We're going to let you keep those vacation days. And if you follow these steps that I laid out today, You'll be able to get all those days approved, enjoy your time off, enjoy your vacation, and more importantly, or most importantly, you'll be getting off on the right foot with a company, even if you have to ask for a lot of different days of vacation. Right. So I hope this was helpful for anyone out there. We see this more and more, especially nowadays. And I want people to feel comfortable and confident. I want all of you watching to feel very confident going in and asking for this time off and being prepared to maneuver around how exactly you can ask it in the best way possible to enjoy your vacation time and get a little bit of a mental break and mental health in a new role in a new company. So if no questions are here, I hope everyone enjoyed this episode of The Hunt. Remember, you can always comment on this post after the episode airs. I go through those comments throughout the week. Be happy to give you any advice or insight that I can. If you need anything at all related to your job search, reach out to me anytime. Make sure you connect with me on LinkedIn. And above all else, make sure you follow Advice Personnel on LinkedIn to get constant contact around advice, whether you're recruiting for a new position, searching for a new job, hiring talent. Follow Advice Personnel first thing you do before you get back to work after watching this episode. All right, so I hope everyone enjoyed it. Enjoy your vacations and your long time PTO. Make sure you send me a message when you get it approved so I know I had a hand in helping you take time off, and hope everyone has a great rest of the week and weekend. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Hunt. We'll see everyone next week.